What we have here is the last part of the old cellar, and that's the stone staircase, and I don't like that too much, so we'll change that. I will place some wooden steps on all these different stone steps, and then we put a board in the back. So the first thing you ought to do is measure the steps. The width, so I'm going to use 25. And I assume they will be all the same, but you might want to check because they may not be all the same. And then you measure also the width, which is 82. And you do measure it in a few locations because this can vary a bit. We also will have to measure then the boarding. Fixing up that stone staircase is easy. All you need to do is get some good quality plywood, and you can buy it in a big panel, but whenever you start cutting it, you got to make sure that you have measured the steps properly and that you can actually lay it out in the most efficient way so you don't have too much loss. If you don't have the right tools to cut the planks out of the plywood, then ask it in the store. They have all the machinery to do that for you. It might cost a little bit, but still it might be easier for you if you don't have the right tools. You also will require some good quality polyurethane glue, and I have some there, but it could be any brand. And we're just going to glue these wooden planks basically on the stone. It is special glue for that purpose. And as the last thing you're going to need is some levels, because you've got to make sure everything is straight and level. So we've cut our planks to the width we need to have. So we've cut 3 of them, which is enough for 9 steps. And now we'll cut them actually to length. So we'll now cut them up to length. And once they're cut to length, we need to mark them. Now we've cut all the planks to length for the steps. So the last thing we have to do now is to sand it down a bit on the edges so it becomes nice and smooth. And therefore a grain 80 will just be perfect. So that's the first thing we'll do right now. So, done. So let's now go and put them on the stone staircase. I've placed all the steps at every odd step because you don't want to lock yourself out in the cellar. So the glue will need some time to dry. And that's why now I can still step on the stones, you know, to get out of the cellar. Let those guys dry, and then you just do the opposite. Now, what is important is that the steps are level, both in length and in width. So I'm always using 2 level meters to do so. So the best approach is to use some shims, like the one I have here. So those you can slide under it, leave them in place, and then afterwards pull them back out, like so. This is a bit of work, but it's not that hard to do. But I think you got to do it, because otherwise you will run into all kind of issues. So. You have to let it dry for about 5 minutes. So we'll give it that time. All right, meanwhile, the glue has dried up and is ready to receive the step. And that's about 5 minutes for this type of a glue. I placed the shims underneath. I leveled out the plank by pushing it here and there until it's both level in both directions. So now we are ready for the next one. So the staircase is complete. 4 hours of work, 100 euros. It still needs some small finishing touches here and there, but I'll show you that in my next video on how you can put a nice coat of paint on this wooden staircase. Thank you for watching.